Check one, check two. Check one, check two. Background, audio. Hopefully we are rolling. Oh my. Oh my word. People, we're in trouble. We have dug a little grave for ourselves, haven't we? Allowing organizations and governments to have all this power and all this authority, allowing all these rules, all these safety measures to be put into place. We're in trouble. You know, tyranny always disguises itself as safety and security. And the whole idea that somebody you don't know, who doesn't know you, who lives very far away, is going to gift you everything you need and ask for nothing in return. Real freedom is not free. And fake freedom, well, that's the road to hell, right? That's the road to hell. You could have walked down a different path. You could have changed at any point in time. We could have realized we got too comfortable with everybody bringing us everything. I once read an interview with the rock star who was screwed in the head, living but dead. And as they all are, got that soul for sale, right? Anyway, in the interview, he was asked, why do you do all these drugs? Why do you put yourself through this hell? And his answer was that when it's brought to you on a silver plate, it's very hard to say no. That's, once again, it's the difference between the boys and the men. Do you have the ability to say no today so that you can say yes tomorrow? Does society have that ability anymore? It's a great question. Or are we all just living moment to moment, disconnecting from our future, disassociated from our past? And this is it. The sun can shine, the water can sparkle. The beach can invite. But the people, there is nothing as dumb as humanity. Free dumb, right? Oh, oh my word. We are, we're in trouble, right? We're going to skip through Twitter and I don't even know where to start because the information is out there, but people's hands are tied. And I'm going to get into that this week where I'm going to get into the behavioral insights because you think you're in control of what you're doing. Isn't it crazy how people control or people can control what other people are doing from a distance? Isn't this remote control quite amazing? It used to be you could only control people in your vicinity if you wanted to, but now you can do it from anywhere. The technology is overarching like a rainbow with 6 colors. Anyway, Gareth Ike posted on Twitter, "The country is already dead. Boris just announced the funeral. Don't forget to clap." Drop the mic, guys. That's it. That's it. So while you disappear into your thoughts, while you sleep for an extra hour, while you take another pill, while you load another game, you know, look around, look around, look around. Yes, the silence can be violent. Meanwhile, we do what we can. If you're following my business series, you will know that there are epic things happening. Yeah, a couple of interviews coming out this week. You know, there's some good people there. There's some good people out there in and around. But you have to search to find them, right? You have to search to find them. Because if you looked at the mainstream media, you would think that there was only one way, there was only one thought process, there was only one path, there was only one solution, there was only one problem. But it's not like that. Yeah, it's not like that. So don't allow yourself to be remote controlled. Don't allow the definitions of others to define your own experiences. You have to be able to make your own mind up. And then part of that process is having the courage and ability to speak and say what is on your mind. A lot of people scared, a lot of people afraid. You know, some of us really and truly will be defined by what we will say, while others are just led by what already has been said. Right? Right? It's all a process. It's all a process of learning. It's all a process of growing. The ability to grow is governed by the ability to know. When we stop learning, we stop living. Right? Right? Meanwhile, out there, the government have a new color-coded series of alert levels because we have to reduce everything to primary instincts. It also means that they will be able to reinforce lockdowns on a whim at any time. making these changes kind of permanent, right? Kind of permanent. Is there not a question in the back of your mind that perhaps, just perhaps, something isn't right? Can you listen to that voice inside your own mind? Because the more we listen, the more we learn about our own actions and the actions of others. We learn about how other people interpret the world. But don't get caught in the thought. Don't get caught in the thought. Life paralyzes as much as it provides opportunities, right? We want the kids to have a future, right? Don't you want kids to have a future? Don't you want children to believe that everything is possible, that anything is possible? Because we know that everything is possible. Right, look at what we've done. Look at what we've achieved. Don't buy in to the agendas. Because the agendas have already been bought by others. You know that, right? The agendas have already been bought by others. The world is a stage, and we're all played. We're all actors and factors, right? We've all got our role, our part. Enter stage right, exit stage left. Have influence while you can. Before it's too late, because the clock is ticking. It's beyond 2 minutes to midnight. BANNED.VIDEO. German forensic professor calls out COVIDLIES on TV. He's only the head of forensic medicine in Hamburg. Right? But you would think he doesn't exist. You would think it's all going to be okay as long as I acquiesce to the rules. But they're coming for all the non-essential types. State of California, Health and Human Services Agency, Department of Social Services. As a participant in state assistance benefits, including cash aid, CalFresh and Medi-Cal, and in accordance with the State of California emergency order numbers, you are being informed that COVID-19 testing is declared mandatory for all members of your household receiving assistance. You may receive the test free of charge. You may receive the test free of charge at any of the participating sites in the county of California. Please refer to the attached pamphlet for testing and information. Appointments are required. Failure to obtain a test by June the 1st, 2020 will result in the suspension of your benefits. Oh yes. Oh yes. Sincerely yours, Secretary for the Health and Human Services Agency. Oh yes, the battle for humanity has begun. If you are not ready, then you have not been paying attention. But the people, most of the people, they live in fear. They're frightened. People who are too afraid to call out their corrupt governments will call out their neighbors for breaking corrupt government dictates to prove their loyalty to their corrupt government. And that's how scared child types react to corruption. The children who never grow up. This is Neverland. We are all Peter Pan. They side with the corruption because they're too weak to speak out. Dumbed down, depressed. The idiocy of society. Right? The idiocy. Because if anyone can persuade you that you have to stay in your own home to protect other vulnerable people who are forced to stay in their homes, then you've been head fucked, right? Right? Think about it. Just think about it. You have to stay in their homes. No, well, you have to stay in your home, right? You can't go to their home. You can't visit them. You can't even know what's going on. You can't even help them if they need help. I mean, that's one of those things that always puzzle me about school. It's a test. Don't help each other. But life's a test. You're supposed to help each other. Your neighbor needs something. You're supposed to help them. Right? Isn't that what makes us human? Isn't that how we avoid becoming automatons? But we have a choice. We have a choice to watch, learn, share, repeat. You know, the quality of what goes in affects the quality of what comes out. That's why you need good food. You need nutrition. You need to expose yourself to life. You need to expose yourself to the truth. VAXXEDWATCH. Watch it. Anyway, do you think that everything's not being monitored? Do you think there's not a grand computer with lists of names scrolling through it, with algorithms pulling out words and phrases? Just look around, right? Do you know Google has voice AI, right? It knows what you're saying. It can transcribe it in real time. Um, Google Google Docs transcribes in real time. And all these listening devices became cool. Perhaps if we give them a little something, they'll accept everything. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and in the background, in the back of their mind, they'll know. They'll know that they're a rat in a cage, but they'll imagine the cage is not there. Because if they learn to see the bars, they'll realize the power of fear. The Coronavirus Act has given the government powers that are without precedent in peacetime. This is not peacetime. Do you understand? We're not at peace. We're stressed, we're diseased. This is a time of war. War is the norm for history, not peace. Conflict is the norm. It is how people are controlled. The Coronavirus Act has given them, the people in the hats, the authority to close any building, to fine any person, to direct any person to go anywhere if they can find you, if they can see you, if they can reach you, if they can touch you, if they can catch you. Better get a good pair of trainers. Better learn to run fast. The lesser known health protection regulation, known as the coronavirus restriction, is the legal basis for lockdown and is perhaps one of the most draconian bills introduced in UK history. But they won't tell you that. They know that now they've got you. Oh, first they got you. First they got you. They got you. First they entertained you. Now they've detained you. What does that word mean? Entertain. Mente, mind. Tain, hold. Enter, to go in. So to go in and hold the mind. No principal stipulations. No person may participate in a gathering in a public space of more than 2 people. No person may participate in a gathering in a public space of more than 2 people. Attention! No person may participate in a gathering in a public space of more than 2 people. And no person may leave the place where they are living without reasonable excuse. The list of reasonable excuses is short. Interestingly enough, if you're a lawyer, once you've left with a reasonable excuse, you don't have to be out with a reasonable excuse. It's word games. It's word games. And it's true, if the lockdown is not lifted, then we will normalize a chilling authoritarianism. Unprecedented. Unprecedented. Really? Really? Nobel Prize winning scientist predicts the virus will burn out in 2 weeks. But still, the rules and the laws will remain in place. According to the scientist, Ireland's death rate and infection will burn itself out in the next 2 weeks. Unless, of course, it doesn't. Unless, of course, there's a second wave. Interesting. Interesting. Professor Michael Levitt of Stanford University was speaking. He was speaking. He's a professor. Looking serious. But don't rely on the experts. Take a look around. See what you can see. Washington State announces 14-day isolation period to be enforced by the State National Guard. To be enforced. To be forced. Forced self-isolation. You have been tricked. You have been fooled again. But can you admit it? Can you? Can you admit it? Did you know that Nazi Germany used the same excuses that the World Health Organization has used? Medicine. Sinful acts. Medicine, originally. Med between. Cine as in cinema, the soul. Anime, the soul. Between the person and the soul. Yep. Germany used the flu pandemic as well. But you don't know that because you don't read history, right? You don't read history. In fact, you read very little. You read very little of any relevance. You read your fiction. That's what shapes your world. Not fact. Fiction. While the puppets, the elite billionaire puppets, every day look more and more like fucking Muppets. But don't worry, they've gamed it all out. Event 201 was the end, not the beginning. Right? It all began with a dark winter. That's where it began. Oh yes, the ties that bind. 2018 documentary, TRUSTWHO, noted how Professor Ferguson, the man caught in the act, was on several committees that created conflicts of interest. He declares consultancy fees from GlaxoSmithKline, Baxter, and Roche. Or is it Roche? Anyway, you want background? You want knowledge? You want information? Go and check out. Who was Bill Gates before Microsoft? Who was the philanthropic billionaire? Where did his family come from? Who did his mother work for? What organizations did his father found? Oh, what was his upbringing like? I wonder. You wonder? I wonder, what was his upbringing like? Because, you know, the values that you evolve, values you experience as a child, well, that affects the way you see the world. The way you see the world. You know, is your life full of love or hate? You know, do you fear the future or do you embrace it? It all matters. It all matters. It all affects the way you develop, how you think, right? Think. It's a mistake to think that most people are thinking. Why? Well, If masks and gloves work, then why are businesses closed? And if they don't work, then why do we have to wear them? It's all nonsense. You're not even safe now when you're 6 feet under. As they go around digging up the bodies to extract the viruses to take to the laboratories. The laboratories. Can't even say the word. To take to the laboratories. What word was it I couldn't say yesterday? I was doing an interview yesterday and I couldn't say a word. Dun dun dun. I knew I was going to mess it up. Can't remember now. Never mind. Never mind. But don't worry. We're not going to return to normal. The schools are not going to return to normal. They're going to have arrows on the floor, signs on the door. They're going to be spraying your kids with chemicals. They're going to have 5G networks. Right? Teachers are going to be wearing masks. You're not going to be able to understand human expression anymore, which means when the AI comes in, you will accept it because you won't know what normal is, right? Truth is, what's happening is wrong on every single level. Forget the mandatory vaccines, the cashless society, the corporate global control that we are so clearly heading for. The whole pandemic has been boiling down to how we re-educate and retrain the children for the new normal. It's a chance to indoctrinate the next generation into thinking that it might be dangerous to have thoughts. We're taking away human interaction, especially in the child's formative years. We're taking away their trust. We're teaching them that the fellow human is a threat, that they themselves are a potential threat. Where is the innocence? What have you done to the kids? What have you done to the kids? You don't believe me? Go to youtube.com. Search EARLDLEY, Eardley Elementary Back to School video. Oh yeah. Those happy little fascist authoritarian teachers are looking forward to indoctrinating the next generation. Indoctrinating the next generation. And what about the kids, eh? What about the kids? What about your kids? Will you be able to protect them? Will you be able to shield them? Will you be able to provide for them? Have you gamed that out yet? Have you decided which piece you will be on the checkerboard? Right? Have you decided? Paraphrasing, pilfering from Carl Sagan, I wrote something for my kids a few years ago. Let me read it. Where is home? A place where we forged from stardust, built from the pieces of 1,000,000 shattered suns. Religion is not wrong about that idea that we were created, but by whom and by what exactly is still a mystery. Perhaps once known, but now long lost under the shifting sands of time. But right now we are here, aware and awake, able to consider and even dream of such endless possibilities. There is no end to life, only a change that is at the same time both visible and invisible. It matters little what happens after death. It matters who we are today and to whom we will lend a hand tomorrow. if we are still here. Regardless of your religion or beliefs, we hold on to the same earth, and in time we'll probably return to what and where we came from, the very fabric of the universe, back to that which creates stars and planets. We will go back to the great cosmos, perhaps never remembering our past life. We will be that mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam, and in a few billion years we will be reborn into another life. How do I know this, you ask? It has already happened. Oh yes. You know, it's almost mid-May and it was snowing yesterday. How bizarre is that? I bet you most people have forgotten about that already. How much do you remember about yesterday? On average, we memory hole 80% of our experience almost instantly. And each day we memory hole 80% more. So day one, you've only got 20% conscious memory of the previous day. But by day two, you've only got 20% of the 20%, right? But it's all there somewhere. It's all there somewhere. Just like the data is never really erased from that hard disk. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a crazy world where we're trained in false process. We're trained in illogic, where we have to fight to keep what is right, what is real, what is true. We forget more than we know. How much do you remember? Do you remember how your immune system works? Do you realize that cellular memory is part of what creates natural immunity? Right? The cells, they remember how they grow, how they grew, how they acted, how they reacted, so that they can go through the process again. It's almost like the membrane is a brain within the cell that carries with it knowledge, the knowledge of experience, right? Did you know? So that, if a virus goes into the body remembers how the virus entered the body, so it knows how to protect the body. That God did not make a mistake, right? The crazy thing is that this reaction can't really be programmed into a lot of medicine, especially not things like the vaccines. Because they're delivered through an unnatural process that bypasses the body's natural defenses. But we're taught that it's science and science is good. Trouble is, levels of deception have reached epic proportions. They have. It reaches the point where staying at home is just house arrest. And that is the beginning of the end. Right? Because where does it go from there? Right? If people get away with being bad, if they're not caught, if they're not taught, if they're not educated, if they're not punished in some way by society, by culture, by the the rules that we create, what then? What next? What then? What next? Right? If you don't stop it today and it grows, it's going to be harder to stop it tomorrow, right? You know, cancer is not so much a disease of the body as a lifestyle disease, a disease of the wrong habits, a disease of the mind, right? It's a disease of the mind. And it's all mind games. It's all mind games, right? It's all bills that are enforced, not laws. Acts and amendments. Are they laws? You know, what is a man? What is a common man? What is a free man? What is the rule of law? What is the rule of people? And what are the rules of the corporations? The corpses, the corpuses, the Marine Corps. All government authorities are fictitious. Legal, but not lawful. There is no authority without consent. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That doesn't make it any easier because the rules will be enforced whatever. We've been trained to follow the rules. That's what the sports are. It's training in discipline to follow the rules. Because without the rules, you can't play the game. And the rules will be enforced. That's why you have to be aware of the fights that you pick, of the words and the language that you use. Word games don't work with gorillas. They always mash your head in at the end of the day. You ever ask yourself, like, how did we get this far? How did so much go so wrong so quickly? The fact that we believe we need a mask when it will actually make you sick. And that by making yourself sick, you believe you're protecting others. That we're applauding and clapping and waiting for an injection that's going to save us all. That we think that someone's coming, Superman, somebody, Wonder Woman, somebody, Iron Man, somebody somewhere. That we believe the numbers, that we can use oxymoronic terms like social distancing, like we believe we can sacrifice freedoms, that we believe some businesses are non-essential. That we believe that by getting tested with tests that we don't even understand, that everything is going to improve. That we can accept the new normal. That it's okay to report your neighbors, report your friends, report the people around about you. Live in paranoia. But make sure you watch the press conferences. Make sure you stand on the taped X's in the stores. Make sure you wait to be directed, to be commanded. Make sure that you have your gloves on. Things that you never cared about before. Things that never mattered before. Make sure you distance yourself from family and friends, because even though you're not sick, you might make them sick. Right? Isn't that how it works? Isn't that how it works? You believe that you're more essential. Social Darwinism, eugenics, the machine that takes over from the human mind. From the human mind. And truth is the ultimate weapon against this, for the simple fact that truth is stranger than fiction. 22. Truth is stranger than fiction. YouTube.com, Obama's transgender ex-nanny outcast. I kid you not. Remember what I said about growing up? Remember what I said. It took me a while to find these clips and put in the context of what happened. It's very, very interesting. Look into the comments of Joan Rivers. She knew what was going on. And she was silenced. She was silenced. She was silenced. And that's what they do. They amplify the madness and silence the truth and the logic. That's what they do. Making you believe their reality. And while you try to process their reality, they move on to the next reality that they want you to believe, step by step. Meanwhile, a few with vision, with clarity, with understanding, see through it all. According to the president of Tanzania, a papaya fruit, a quail, and a goat all tested positive for coronavirus. Really, he sent away samples of not trusting that the test worked. He sent away these samples, and it seems that you could. It seems that a football could test positive for coronavirus, from what I've read. It has been said as well that up to 80% of the tests are false positives. They'll also test positive if you've had any coronavirus. Why is the coronavirus called the coronavirus? You ever wonder? What is the corona? Where is it from? The crown? But the crown of what? It's the ring of fire, ladies and gentlemen. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames burned higher. And it burned, burned, burned in the ring of fire. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. What test are they giving you? Do you know where it came from? Do you know what the inventor of the test said? But don't worry, there's nothing to see here. Move along. Move along. Robot dogs patrolling the parks in Singapore, but move along, making sure everybody keeps their social distance, but move along. Move along. They start with the dogs, right? Unleash the dogs of war. Seriously. Unleash the dogs of war. Animals. The human farm. They see us as animals on their farm. And they do with us as they will. They do with us as they will. It's time to fight back. It's time to do something. It's time to make a difference. What are you going to do, huh? What are you going to do today? Tomorrow's not guaranteed. It's going to be too late. You know that. It's already almost too late. You know that. I think you must know that. You know, ask yourself some questions. Search for the answers inside your own mind. Push back. Push back while you can. Because, you know, when the opportunity's gone, it's gone. It doesn't last forever, right? You get a wave at the opportunity as it passes by. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Think about it. Think about it a lot. My name's G. I represent the Academy. You can find more information at Graham William Hendry on Facebook. Thank you very much, Intelligence Services, for sharing the information with your friends. Keep an open mind, please. Also on Twitter, also on Instagram, also on LinkedIn, also on YouTube under the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching. Share the information. Catch the inspirational interviews. You know, just do what you can, right? Do what you can where you are with what you have. So much more to get into. Never enough time. Thank you very much for tuning in wherever you are. Have a great day. And remember to tell the ones you love that you love them. Take care.